Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we will be going over every team's biggest offseason need, and we're just going to be going through division by division, team by team, and I'm going to be telling you what I think every team's biggest offseason need in the NFL should be, or will be. Starting off with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East, I think it's either running back or defensive line. I think running back Devin Singletary can be good. I just think that they're going to need to use him a little bit more. Maybe they should actually use a running back as a power back instead of Josh Allen. But with the defensive line, I think that maybe their top priority because Harrison Phillips and Vernon Butler are free agents. However, there's not really many holes in this Bills team. Next team, we got the Patriots. I think definitely wide receiver. Quarterback's good. Running back, Damian Harris proved to be good. They're going to need weapons for Mac Jones. They have Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, and that's not really a great combo. Jacoby Myers isn't bad. He just has trouble finding the end zone. And Kendrick Bourne, well, he's not a number one. I think they're going to need a big-time wide receiver for the Patriots. Dolphins, they're going to need an offensive line. So I think head coach Mike McDaniel, he was a former run game coordinator, and he's going to want to win in the trenches. So I think offensive line is the way to go for the Dolphins. The Jets could use a big-time pass rusher. Carl Lawson had a torn Achilles, and you never know with those injuries. And the Jets could be in a good spot to do that with potentially one of the two good pass rushers, Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson, on the board at number 4. And there's some more around number 10, so they're in a good spot. And I think they should wait till the draft for a pass rusher. The Ravens, they could definitely upgrade the defensive line. Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell are both upcoming free agents, so they're going to need some big men for the defensive line. The Steelers, they have two priorities. Number 1 is obviously quarterback, with number 2 being the offensive line. I think quarterback's the bigger issue because the Steelers made the playoffs with Ben Roethlisberger, who had a pretty big decline towards the end of his career, and a garbage O-line. So if they have another quarterback, say they draft a quarterback, or they sign a free agent quarterback, and it's not like they don't trade for Aaron Rodgers or something. Say they go sign someone like Teddy Bridgewater or Jameis Winston. I think one of those quarterbacks could lead them to the playoffs, even with a bad offensive line. So I think quarterback is number 1 priority, with the offensive line right behind at number 2. For the Browns, their number 1 priority definitely needs to be wide receiver. They don't have many good weapons. They have Jarvis Landry, who he's not bad, but I think he's overrated. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones, who he's good when he's given the opportunity. And then Rashad Higgins is walking in free agency. So they're going to need some depth at wide receiver, and I think they're lacking a true number 1 receiver. Next up, we have the Bengals offensive line. Did you see them play in the second half of the Super Bowl or the AFC divisional round? Definitely for the Bengals, Joe Burrow's not getting sacked 9 times again. Jaguars offensive line. They need to protect franchise quarterback Trevor Lawrence. That's going to be their top priority this offseason. For the Titans, it's probably tight end. They don't have... Last year, they used Jeff Swain and Anthony Frisker as their tight ends. And let's just say they're not great tight ends. Titans can definitely use an upgrade at tight end. Texans, literally anything. Okay, Colts, quarterback. They're going to need to move on from Carson... They're most likely going to move on from Carson Wentz. So they're going to need someone else to manage the offense. Wide receivers also a need. Michael Pittman's emerged to be pretty good, but they're going to need some depth behind him. But I think quarterback's number 1. On to the Chiefs. D-line. They could use another pass rusher to play on the same line as Chris Jones. Or maybe a safety because Tyrann Mathieu will be potentially leaving in free agency. I think the Chiefs getting another good safety to replace Mathieu would definitely be a good option if Mathieu ends up leaving via free agency. Because as of now, it seems like they're going to be using the franchise tag on left tackle Orlando Brown. Next up, we got the Chargers, wide receiver or defensive tackle. They could use another weapon if Mike Williams leaves. If Mike Williams ends up staying, I definitely think they should upgrade the defensive line. specifically D tackle, because they had a bad run defense this year, and they're going to need a better defensive front. The Raiders wide receiver, Hunter Renfrow hit 1,000 yards. They have Darren Waller, but they need depth at wide receiver. I don't think Renfrow's a number one. Waller could be. He's one of the best tight ends in the game, so he's always a reliable target. But they lack a true down-the-field number one target. Cowboys, I think wide receiver, Amari Cooper, it came out this morning, he's expected to get cut before the new season starts. Like, the new NFL season starts. I believe it's March 16th or something like that. A little bit later in the month of March. And Michael Gallup's a free agent who also tore his ACL, so we don't know what he's going to be like coming back. So that leaves him with CeeDee Lamb and Cedric Wilson. They're definitely going to need more receivers. CeeDee Lamb is a good number one option, but they're going to need more. So wide receiver for the Cowboys. Eagles, they're going to need an edge rusher. Derek Barnett is headed to free agency, so they're going to need another outside edge rusher to play opposite Josh Sweat. And Fletcher Cox on the inside is still pretty good. So Eagles, they're going to need an edge rusher. The Washington Commanders, they're going to need a quarterback. Taylor Heineke's not bad, but he's not a franchise quarterback. I think Matt Corral's a good option for the draft. They could also potentially go and get a free agent quarterback. Next up, we got the Giants. Edge rusher and offensive line. Offensive line first. Specifically interior offensive line, but they can also use a right tackle. Really the only offensive lineman set in stone they should have Andrew Thomas playing left tackle. But otherwise, the rest of the offensive line could use revamping. And they're also going to need edge rusher, or just someone who can get to the quarterback. Rookie Azeez Ojulari was good out of Georgia this season, and Leonard Williams from the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence isn't bad, but they're going to need another big pass rusher, specifically from the edge. Packers' number one priority has to be keep Aaron Rodgers. I think he makes them a Super Bowl contender. Without him, it depends on who they have with Jordan Love. We don't really know how good he is yet, but I think we're looking at a borderline playoff team. Definitely a wild card team, but maybe not, because they do play in a division who's not that good. Next up, we have the Vikings. They're gonna need a corner. Patrick Peterson's headed to free agency, and they're gonna need another cornerback to play opposite Cam Dantzler. For the Bears, it's wide receiver or offensive line. Allen Robinson is looking like it's gonna be headed out the door in free agency, so they're gonna need someone to pair alongside Darnell Mooney, who's a good deep threat and has actually emerged as Justin Fields' favorite target. And they're going to need a better offensive line to protect Justin Fields. The Lions, they need edge rusher, corner, safety, wide receiver. There's a lot of needs for the Lions. Potentially even quarterback, depending on what you think of Jared Goff. But luckily for the Lions, where most teams are not at their strongest position, one of their strongest positions is offensive line. They do have a good offensive line. For the Saints, quarterback or wide receiver, the two quarterbacks on the roster right now under contract are Ian Book and Taysom Hill, with Jameis Winston a free agent. They could also use some other offensive weapons that are not named Alvin Kamara or Michael Thomas. The Buccaneers, they're going to need a quarterback to replace one of the greatest players of all time, Tom Brady. And right now, it's Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert. So, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think he could be good in the future. He reminds me a lot of Tom Brady. A very not mobile quarterback. I think he could be good. I think it just needs to be to have the opportunity. And then Blaine Gabbert, yeah, he's not a starter. But they're either develop Kyle Trask and make him a starter, or go find someone via the draft or free agency, or make a trade for a big-name quarterback like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. Priority number one for the Buccaneers is quarterback. Next up, we have the Falcons. Their biggest priority is edge rusher or wide receiver. Probably edge rusher. I think with their pick at number either 8 or 9, I can't remember which right now. They're in a good position to potentially take an edge rusher. Trayvon Walker is a good option. Jermaine Johnson, David Ajabo. And they could also use some wide receivers. Calvin Ridley, we don't really know what's going on with him. If he comes back to play for the Falcons, they could still use another wide receiver. They have Russell Gage, but, I mean, he's okay. But they're going to need to be able to consistently get pressure from the edge. Panthers, their number one priority has to be quarterback. Sam Darnold is garbage, and Cam Newton isn't good. They're going to need a quarterback if they want to be any good next year. Cardinals, their top priority this season should be cornerback or edge rusher. J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones may both leave via free agency, and they could also use a solid cornerback. The Rams, their number one priority is just keep everyone here from the Super Bowl team. They could use a left tackle if left tackle Andrew Whitworth does decide to retire. But really, that's it for the Rams. Just keep everyone there. But I would not be surprised at all if Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. both end up on different teams. Seahawks, their top priority has to be offensive tackle. Combined, their tackles, left and right, gave up the 5th most quarterback pressures this season. They're going to need someone to protect Russell Wilson or whoever the quarterback is there, but they're going to need someone who can provide good protection facing some of the league's best edge rushers. And the last team we're going to be talking about today is the 49ers. Either trade Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think number one has to be get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance era needs to officially begin in San Francisco. And they could also use some corner. They have Emmanuel Mosley. They signed Josh Norman, but I mean he's getting older. They could use some depth at corner, and another guy to play alongside Emmanuel Mosley, and then get something for Jimmy G, because I think we all know Trey Lance is looking like he's going to take over after Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not bad, but he's just not the quarterback that could lead a Super Bowl caliber team. So, let me know what you want to see your favorite team do in either the draft or free agency, and if you agree with the positional needs. If you think another team needs another position, let me know that in the comments. And thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you probably the next time. Sunday. Well, definitely Sunday, but if not earlier. So make sure to subscribe and hit notifications in case I do post a video tomorrow, so you won't miss that. Like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications, and I will see you at the latest Sunday for my weekly college basketball rankings.